This is basically just going to be another video of me completely bashing Xbox Game Pass and people who actually primarily play on Game Pass, because you're basically, if you've had Game Pass for quite some time and see it as like an extremely good value, I won't deny it, it is extremely good value, but you're also changing your mindset about how games should be supported from a financial perspective. Rather than buying games and supporting the developers, especially if they're indie titles, instead you're probably going to wait for games to come to Game Pass because you feel like you find more value in things that way. So whenever Xbox releases a game, and if for whatever reason, God forbid, they ever release a game and it doesn't land on Game Pass, it's probably going to disappoint people who have Game Pass, because that's the snake oil that they were sold. But on the PlayStation side, however, I think that Sony and PlayStation are doing a significantly better job with advertising themselves and sticking with a strategy that works, because not only are people on PlayStation actually sitting down and actually buying games, they're also still partaking in PlayStation Plus, because while games may eventually arrive on like PlayStation first party games may arrive on PlayStation Plus, it's going to be at a delayed frequency, and that makes sense. At least, like, you know, Sony can support their PlayStation first party studios titles, and at least something like, you know, if they were to release a smaller title like a Hi-Fi Rush of sorts on the PlayStation side, at least people won't feign ignorance and say it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to the platform, while then completely shutting down the developers. Yes, I'm looking at Microsoft doing exactly that, and then Tango Gameworks then somehow got resurrected under Krafton. But basically what PlayStation is saying is, we're not looking to put first party games in PS Plus day and date. Sony rejects Xbox Game Pass model. And here it says in the subtitle, we stayed true to our strategy. So Sony is going to stick with its tried and trusted strategy and will not devalue its first party content by adding it to a subscription service, or to its subscription service PS Plus upon launch. The manufacturer was under immense pressure at the start of the generation to follow Microsoft's splashy Xbox Game Pass model, which introduced mammoth first-party titles like Doom: The Dark Ages at launch. But according to US analyst Circana, basically it's a company, the subscription segment has stagnated, and it's an undeniable impact on software sales across the entire Xbox product family. So now we're seeing the negative aspects of that come out on the Xbox side. Microsoft has subsequently started porting its entire portfolio to platforms like PS5, with many of its major franchises like Gears of War Reloaded now launching day and date on Sony's system. Sony, who maintained the model was unsustainable, is unsurprisingly reluctant to change course. We've stayed true to our strategy across the board, and we're not looking to put games day and date, said PlayStation's services bigwig Nick Maguire in an interview with GameFile. That doesn't mean it's not committed to increasing the quality of service, however, especially at the more expensive PS Extra and PS Plus premium tiers. Members, so yeah, basically he's going on about like how there were really good games like Blueprints that have been added on, and the fact that, you know, going with the 12, 18 months or more time frame is a balance that's actually working out really well from their perspective. Because if people are going to jump in right away, yes, you're going to pay the money to jump in and enjoy an exceptional game experience, because that's kind of what PlayStation has been known for the longest time, is those great single player games, story-based, third-person action adventure titles. So with all of that being said, if people want to jump in, they're going to pay the money and they're going to jump in and enjoy themselves and have a good time. People who are more patient are then just going to wait on PS Plus for about a year and a half later, if it even does come to the service. Or you could just buy it at a discounted price on the PlayStation Store later on as well. Again, options are available. Dropping things day and date almost feels like it definitely devalues the portfolio of games that are being offered, and Xbox has heavily devalued the games that they have, almost to the point where they now are selling it on even their rival machine platforms like PlayStation. The fact that we're getting a Gears of War game on PlayStation at all is, first and foremost, like, I am absolutely going to play Gears of War Reloaded on my PlayStation 5 without a shadow of a doubt. I'm looking forward to that game. But yeah, I just really do not see PlayStation doing that, because it's not working out for Xbox. So why on earth would PlayStation ever look to change course either? To be honest, we think time has shown Sony's decision to not include first-party software as the right strategy, and without a shadow of a doubt, I do agree with that. Now, keeping in mind, I am reading off of a site called Push Square, so let's not be surprised. They might be more positive towards PlayStation than Xbox, but we'll kind of just go on from there. I feel like we should all be 100% aware of that. While there is undeniable value to Xbox Game Pass, it appeals to a very specific type of gamer, which is interested in having a broad selection of content at all times, or, and this is another thing to keep in mind, people who don't have massive libraries of games already accessible to them from games they may not have bought from the last 10, 12 years since the Xbox One. That's absolutely fair if you haven't played games for over 10 years and bought multiple games per month. For me, I have over 1,000 games on my PlayStation account. Many PS5 games and many more PS4 games. So I probably shouldn't be surprised there either. The reality is that gaming is not a passive form of entertainment like music and television, so most gamers prefer to purchase games they specifically want to play outright, rather than subscribe to an enormous library that they may not necessarily ever touch. But then that, I guess, kind of goes back to the idea of a backlog. But yeah, I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about this. Like, what do you guys reckon between the difference in strategy of releasing first-party titles outright versus optionally introducing first-party titles from a subscription perspective? I'd be interested to hear what you guys have to say about this, because I for sure will say that I hope that PlayStation doesn't do that, because yeah, I really just am not all that positive about, if they did make that change, what that would look like. It can't possibly work out well, because like I said, if it doesn't work out well with Xbox, and Xbox has had Game Pass for well over the last 4 or 5 years at this point, I think, that I just can't imagine it working out moving forward. But with all of that being said, however, let me know what you guys think about. Oh, actually, you know what? Another thing as well. With the increase of prices for games, that's one way of funneling people into Game Pass. The other thing is also the fact that if game prices increase and Game Pass looks like a more attractive deal, eventually they're going to increase the price of Game Pass as well. That's another thing to keep in mind. But yeah, I just thought I'll add that in at the end. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 500 subs by the end of the year. And with all that being said, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.